All right, let's bring in host of the Rebelliously Curious podcast and writer for space news outlet, The Debrief, Chrissy Newton. Chrissy, so good to see you again. So as we heard from Hannah there, this is a first of its kind forum. What are you anticipating will actually come out of this? Anything of substance?
Well, let's hope. I think the hearings actually have a little more substance than these types of forums, but it's important because it gives people a voice. It gives representatives a voice, but it also gives people that have worked within government and have had access to information to be able to speak freely as well. So they're both important, but I just don't feel it's going to fully move the needle like briefings and hearings do.
So, Chrissy, what are your thoughts on the UAP files, the videos, the pictures that the federal government has declassified and released so far?
I think it's wonderful. We're at the point now where we're dropping all these UFO files and people now are able to see what actually potentially could be UEP or not. But we also have some major challenges when there isn't an analysis that goes with it. We have the department, we have ARROW, the All Domain Resolution Office, that should be supporting those documents with analysis, but we don't see that. Unfortunately, what we're hearing though, and what people do think that this might be, a president trying to do a populist thing, looking for votes and being able to use disclosure as a populist conversation. So we're hoping that that's not the case. We're seeing representatives from Democrats and Republicans coming together and talking about this. But let's just hope that the administration is not using this for a populist vote.
And so you talked about analysis, which really is so critical. When it comes to your own research, what are some of the things that have maybe most surprised you?
Oh gosh, I think it's just the amount of people that have come forward. We have 80 plus years of research and government research that people have talked about UFOs. So this isn't new. This isn't a trend. This is something that's really going on. So it's amazing to be, in this world right now, reporting on it, speaking about it, and watching how governments around the world are taking action when it comes to the UAP discussion.
And I think I asked you this before, but I think it's important to always continue to look at this from the other side. Do you think that there is some validity to the argument that, everything the government knows maybe should not necessarily be accessible to the public, particularly when it comes to national security?
It depends. It actually probably depends on the national security secret. I can't say that because I don't know the national security secrets, but I do feel that, we do have this need to know, right? The unfortunate thing, though, is that we have this transparency maximalism that happens, though, that when you're dumping so many documents onto people and civilians, you end up creating this kind of democratic institutions where people just stop trusting it because there's not enough information to go along. So over time, hopefully we see that change. We need to see support from the DoD, the Department of Defense. We need to see it, obviously, Department of War, similar thing. And we need to see with ARROW. We need to have congressmen and women coming together with these departments and agencies, speaking about UAP and coming forward together.
Do you think this is kind of helping get rid of some of the stigma surrounding UAPs and people who believe that they've seen something?
Oh, for sure it is. Yeah. People are coming forward. They're, hopefully whistleblowers, like Representative Luna said, will get immunity. We have Kirk McConnell, that was part of the Senate Armed Force Committee, that was recently just saying in this forum that they potentially might look forward to like the sunset clause where they have about 3 to 5 years to come forward. So I think that it's changing how people are viewing the UAP topic. We potentially are not alone. The question is, what does the government know about UFOs? How much do they know? And will they be telling the American and the public and the world from years to come?
Do you think, Chrissy, there is potentially some big secret or secrets the federal government is sitting on?
100%. For sure. The question is, what do they know? We think that, Kirk McConnell was saying within this forum that he feels that they know a lot. But then we looked at Christopher Mellon and we looked at all the other people on the panel that were saying they weren't really sure. They think that there's enough information, but how deep of the information do we know? Are there legacy programs? Is this true? Do we have reversed technology of UAP craft? Those are things that we need to know. And that's what we're asking the government right now.
Chrissy Newton, it's so great to speak with you. Thank you.
Good to speak with you too. Thanks.